What it do, what it do, what it do. Thanks for checking in with another episode of Checking In with Pam LLC. For those of you that are new to the channel, I always like to give a little bit of history about what Checking In with Pam LLC is. Checking In with Pam LLC was inspired by my mother. May she continue to rest in peace. She's always told me, hey, son, you got it. Talk to people, let people know, let people understand, about mental health. And so that's what this show is about. We talk about everyday topics, but we always bring it back to mental health because oftentimes in the Black community, the Black and brown community specifically, talking about mental health is a taboo subject. Right. So, I always like to make sure people know and understand, like, listen, you really truly got to do what works well for you and your mental health. Exactly. And then, of course, we got so many other generations that's coming behind us. If we don't start, they're not going to know anything as it pertains to mental health. So that's really what Checking In with Pam LLC is. And so without further ado, on today, I got a special guest, and me and this brother here, we go back like 14 years, right?
Yeah.
14 years ago, and that's crazy. So I don't know if you guys know about this company called AutoZone, but that's where we used to work at. That's where we, first met in 2009. I think it's 15 years because it was like 09.
09.
Yeah, it was like 09. Yeah. So needless to say, yeah, like that's crazy. Like, full circle moment for sure.
Right.
So brother, without further ado, he is an entrepreneur. I'm going to let him tell you more about himself because, who can do someone justice other than themselves? So tell us a little bit about who you are, brother, and, we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm Cortez. Some people know me as Roadrunner Tezo. I'm an entrepreneur, an author, logistics mentor also. Been driving trucks about 9 years. So basically that's down to it, I kind of investor and just mentor a lot of companies, businesses and everything like that too,
Nice. So you said that you are a, entrepreneur. So how long have you kind of been, in the entrepreneurship world?
Not long, just I say maybe 3 years now. Not too long. About 3 years. About 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But the reason why I'm asking that question is because you was actually an entrepreneur before.
Right.
The Facebook world knew you was an entrepreneur. So
exactly.
So technically, it's been a little bit more than that because I remember that was that had to have been at least like 2018?
18,
yeah. So you really been doing it for a minute.
Yeah. It's been a little minute, until like you said, like maybe 3 years, just now showing the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
2018, I've been doing it really for a minute. So
it's been a minute, because we ain't got to go into that one, but I definitely sent people that way too. So I know for a fact that this brother been grinding for a minute.
Right.
So can you go a little bit more in detail about what it is that you kind of do as a because I don't want to limit you to a truck driver,
right?
Because that's a limitation. Mm-hmm. So can you give us a little bit more about what you do specifically?
So what I do now is kind of like, someone says they want to get into, let's say, logistics. Okay. We're not gonna call it truck, we'll say logistics. I kind of like go out to their company or whatever it is and kind of like build a LLC, business accounts of, and kind of like give them steps to how they can grow profit from their company, make their margins bigger. With either buying a truck, getting a computer, all the way down to getting a computer, just software and all that stuff. So I kind of just put them into steps to make them grow. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So that's basically what I do right now. And give them motivation because a lot of people in logistics, it's this big thing about like, maybe I won't make money,
mm-hmm.
But in the last thing, and I always tell people, chase your purpose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The money's going to flow.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense because if you're looking specifically at the dollar amount, then you probably more than likely gonna always miss the dollar amount because whatever it is that you're chasing, not that you can't achieve that goal,
right.
But it's gonna make everything else feel less important or less, more of what's the word I'm looking for? More, it's not gonna make it feel like you are going to get what you're really trying to go get.
Exactly.
So kind of back to what you just said, if you focus more on your purpose rather than the dollar amount, that will make you more fulfilled than any dollar amount that you can.
Oh,
Because that saying is, you can be a billionaire, but you can be a lonely billionaire. You can be a sad billionaire.
man, yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
So you have everything at your fingertips, but the things that helps you grow and thrive, such as people, places, things, that's gonna really help you be fulfilled.
Right.
You don't have that because you're more focused on the dollar.
The dollar.
Yeah.
The
So
dollar. Yeah.
Okay. So that makes sense. So y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? And I'm saying this to two different cameras, but don't focus specifically on the money because that'll come.
Take that purpose.
Yes.
Number one.
Okay. I like what you're putting down right now. Okay. So what would you say has been your motivation behind becoming an entrepreneur?
The motivation is really like my peers, the community. I look at it every day, daily. We have people that want to grow. They just don't know how to grow. Where to start. So that kind of fills me the motivation and the elevation to help myself grow, then people around me. Also, and it's just I don't know the push. It's the eager. Every morning you wake up, you're just like, I got to do something different.
Right. So
that's what keeps me like outside of the job. Just like, let me go and keep pushing for myself. Generational wealth.
That's right.
Income. Financial freedom. So that's what I mainly kind of chase, and that's what keeps me going with the entrepreneur.
Nice. Yeah. Like to your point, when you wake up every single day and you're working for you, and you don't necessarily have to go and punch a clock. You don't necessarily have to go and answer to anyone. Like, of course, you have your core group that you have to connect with, so to speak. But again, it's on your time versus it being on someone else's time. So, I think most importantly, I think that's extremely important because you get to say, hey, you know what? Today I don't feel like getting up at 8 o'clock. Right. I would rather sleep in, to 10 o'clock. And that's okay. That's what being an entrepreneur is about. You set your own hours. And you said something earlier that stood out to me, and that's that financial freedom. Having some of that residual income, hey, I come over here, I set this up for you. It's going to pay me down the line, not just for the day, but down the line. Yeah, I like that.
Look at the the picture down the line instead of just looking at go back to that dollar and the purpose. You got to think about every time you do something in life, you got to think about the purpose of the chase purpose.
Right. That's the word.
Let's get money. Like, man, you got $5, I think you got money.
Listen,
what I'm saying?
If you know how to work that $5, they can really turn. Because listen,
exactly.
You can take that. I don't tell people what they should and shouldn't do.
Right.
But you can absolutely use that $5. You can go get you a scratch off, and that might be your lucky. You know what I mean? And now you just multiply that. So now it's all about now what you're gonna do with this. Because let's say, for instance, you hit that scratch off. Because I know people that have you hit on that scratch off. You now made $200,000 or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
Are you now going to invest that, or are you just going to use that and let it burn straight through your hands? Because if you do that, then it's going to be, like, dang, I wish I had did this.
Right.
That's when you now go to the shouldas, the couldas, and the wouldas, them cousins. Yeah. You don't want to mess with them cousins.
Right.
Let them cousins be what they are, and live in the moment. Most importantly, chase the purpose, because that's a word. Yeah. Chase the purpose. I'm gonna be saying that now, for the rest, especially throughout the rest of this, time that we're here, because again, that's a word.
And the big thing too, also is networking is free.
Yes, it is.
If it's an event going on around your cities, communities, and it's free to get to, I say go. Networking is free because that's going to build your circle. What I'm saying? You might find somebody that just hanging around, but they might got a lot of knowledge. So it's
can
free.
Connect you.
You don't have to pay for everything. I always have to chase the bag. Chase purpose too. Network.
Chase purpose. Y'all hear that? Chase purpose. Okay. So what intrigued you about the and correct me if I'm wrong. I've been working, trying to make sure I'm getting the right lingo and stuff. But what intrigued you about the logistical side of things of the trucking industry?
So what kind of it was mainly like I always like the research thing. So if I'm driving, I started driving trucks, and I used to wonder how do somebody book a load and get it to like the warehouse? Mm-hmm. I just kind of figure out who somebody's between it. I know I'm the driver. I'm just behind the truck driving down the road, maybe going to California. It's like, man, I'm just wondering. So it made me more interested in finding out who was between the driver and the dispatcher.
Okay.
Or the driver and the shipper, the driver and the receiver. And that's what I come up with. You got the broker and the dispatcher. So it made me more interested in finding out. I need to get into the logistics part because that's one of the ones who was really building wealth in life in the transportation. What's the middleman kind of? And then people say, the middleman ain't got nothing to do, but really it's kind of the middle person who kind of works on both sides in transportation. The dispatcher and the broker are kind of between the driver and the shipper and the receiver. So that's when I started getting more interested in trying to figure out more about logistics.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you hear that? So don't limit yourself to one thing. Open your minds up to different things that you can do. You can absolutely be, like he said, all things.
Yes.
Like you can be the broker, you can be the dispatcher.
Right.
You can literally work for yourself, which I know somebody that does that. I won't say their name because I don't know if they want me to, shout them out or not. But what I will say is what he's saying, I know for a fact is accurate because I know somebody that literally does all of this himself.
Right.
So, it's nothing for him to start out like, what, I ain't working to that.
Yeah.
I ain't doing none of that. I'll shift all of my loads and all that good stuff tomorrow.
Exactly.
And go from there. So yeah, I know that is accurate for sure. Okay. So what kind of challenges would you say that you might face in being in the logistics? Is it logistics industry?
Yeah, it's the logistics industry. Maybe people say trucking industry, but all of it kind of runs together.
Okay.
But the challenges I ran into mainly like finding good drivers, the freight, brokers cutting throat, everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the miles, people, drivers go off of how much they get paid rate per mile.
Okay.
So sometimes you might find loads $2-3. And, I have companies when I used to dispatch too, also, I have people tell me, well, I don't want to run for $2. But it's kind of mainly what I'm telling you is to run this load for $2, I'm going to get you $3 or $4 a mile. So that was kind of the biggest challenge for me. And it's still I'm kind of working on it with other companies, kind of trying to tell them, explain to your drivers, I'm giving you this load to get you somewhere else to make more money.
Right.
Don't just tell them, well, I'm giving you this $50 load and just send them on the way. Kind of explain.
Break it down.
So that's kind of my biggest challenge in logistics, trying to do that, trying to find good drivers, and just kind of keep drivers happy. My main focus is to tend to the drivers. I know some people say, well, I'm trying to get the bag.
Trying to chase that bag.
We chasing purpose. So my main thing, I'm going towards the driver and feeling the driver because I've been out there. So when I train dispatchers, train companies, I kind of make them feel like the driver when they dispatch people. So it's a big challenge when you do logistics. I'm not gonna say it's easy. I'm not gonna say that, but it is a good thing. It's a challenge, and it's a good challenge too.
Okay, and I think again what you're saying is it makes perfect sense because again it's what you make it.
Yeah.
Like as the entrepreneur, you have to explain, hey, if you do this, this is what can come with that. And so if you're not mapping out, if you're not explaining in full details, like, hey, if you do this, and this, it can set you up for this. Excuse me, y'all. My allergies is jacked up. But it can set you up for this. So therefore, it's allowing you with the opportunity to say, you know what? If I run this, if I do this for this amount of time, it can get me to this level. Not just the dollar amount, but it can get me kind of closer to whatever it is that I originally set out to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. What I will say is I'll put a pin in some of the questions right now because that just made me think. Would you say that you think it has been worse after the pandemic? Because when you started doing the trucking side of things, it was probably right there in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
So would you say that it is probably worse compared to what it was right there at the beginning versus where it is now? And I'm only asking that question because I know a lot of people now, they're not motivated to do a lot of stuff. Like if it's not like literally laid in their laps, they don't really want to do it. They don't want to put forth the effort. So would you say that from when you started versus now, it has probably gotten a little worse in terms of people's motivation?
Be honest, yeah, because a lot of people now are wanting to get more so outside, going to work, trying to go to a job. So dispatching and building logistic companies kind of like sitting at home, your leisure, on a trip, just So a lot, it's kind of worse now because a lot of people are trying to more so go back into an office. So logistics comes more of working from home. You know what I'm saying? To come from your home. A lot of people are like, I'm so tired of working home. I've been working at home since the pandemic. So now things are opening up. People are like, I'll think about that later. So it's kind of, it's getting a little worse now. But still, I kind of give people that motivation, let them know, like, hey, you can build your own platform, generational wealth, build that financial freedom, with just still sitting at home. You don't have to go punch a clock. You don't have to go do, put gas in your car. You can sit at home, make money, stack it up, financial freedom, and just be okay. Build for the kids. So yeah, it has got worse than now. The pandemic was like everybody was hopping on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like, maybe I could go buy a truck, but I'll wait down the line and see. So I said, jump into it now while you can,
Yeah, listen, because when you're talking about purchasing now, this is free game for anybody that's want it. When you're talking about purchasing, those rates, they are in fact coming down. So it is definitely a better time to buy now trucks or whatever, because the rates are coming down. However, also keep in mind that when you're going, you got to know exactly what it is that you want. Do your research, people. Don't just jump on the next best thing just because it's available, it's out there. Make sure that you're literally doing the research so that you can get the most bang for your buck.
All right.
Yeah, most bang for your buck for sure. So that way, you can always be in the black in your business. See, be in the black. You don't want to be in the red.
Right.
If you can help it, don't be in the red. Right. But I mean, of course, with business, sometimes you might end up, touching the red. Yeah. But that's okay. Touch the red a little bit, learn from it, and keep going. Yeah. All right. So let's see. What would you say has probably been the most difficult being in business for yourself?
We'll go back to the black and red.
Okay.
That's kind of been the hardest part for me from learning. When I first started, things were going to the red a lot for me. It was discouragement, but I had to sit back and think, this is entrepreneurship. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fail sometimes, but like you said, you have to learn from it, learn your lesson, and keep going, get over that hurdle. You know what I'm saying? So that's been a real difficult time for me. And still now, I go through it too like that now. I don't win every week. Okay. I may not win maybe 1 or 2 months out, as I'm going. But my main thing is when you do get a little bit, put a little bit up to your investment. So if you make $1,000 and you got to pay something else, I would say put that $1,000 back into your investment. Don't try to I got $1,000. Let me go blow it. So you got to learn that. And that was difficult for me, doing that. So I say that was hard. Learning to sit back and relax. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you good. No apologies. Listen, we keep it real and raw and uncut here. Checking in with Pam LLC, so all is well. Okay, well that definitely makes sense. Because I could definitely say that I can agree with what you're saying because I too, as an entrepreneur, I still work my 9 to 5, but I also got a business on the side as well. And I would definitely say that I know what you're saying is absolutely factual. Because when I first started out, yes, there's so many different tutorials out there that can, tell you, hey, well, do this or do that. Let this work in your business or whatever the case may be. But what they don't tell you is, hey, there are going to be probably starting out, there are going to be more days that you're going to want to give up. You know what I mean? But keep going, keep trying, keep thriving. Right. But in addition to that, don't feel the need to do and purchase everything up front either.
Right.
Because I know that has definitely been my thing. Like I felt like, I need to go out and purchase all things at this moment. I ain't gonna tell y'all what I do because y'all ain't ready yet. But it's coming. This is a whole different episode. It's not about me. But the point that I'm making is I could definitely understand what you're saying. Feeling that need to feel like, hey, I need to purchase everything up front or invest so much up front, not realizing like, hey, it's okay. Just do it piece by piece for now. And then as you continue to grow your business, then that's when you can go back and you can now start to invest more, whether that's, more trucks, whether that's more, side hustles, in your case, you done created a book that we're going to talk about.
Right.
Is that 2 books that I see?
Yep.
So he's created 2 books. So we're going to get into that a little bit later, but stay tuned. We're going to get into that. So that definitely makes sense, that being, probably some of the most hindrance that a lot of people deal with, because they're like, hey, I don't really want to be in the red, you know what I mean?
Right.
But the reality is it happens.
That's where you get your lessons from.
Come on, brother. That's where you learn.
Yep.
A lot of time people feel like in life, if in order for you to quote unquote be successful, it has to be blemish free. But most of the people that are successful, they can tell you, like, listen, I done had a few mountains that I had to climb. I done had a few, obstacles that I had to, face. I done had, so many different trials, that I had to face. Like, that's honestly where you start to really figure out where your true friends, family, and your true support system is at.
Right.
Because I tell people all the time, it wasn't until I started my business that I realized, like, hey, not everybody understands your dreams, your goals, your aspirations the way that you do.
They can't see their vision.
They can't see the vision. And once they see that it now has become lucrative or whatever the case might be, then it's like, hey, how can I get on? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that makes them a bad person, but I am saying that if you had supported me a little bit more in the beginning, we could have now been learning this stuff together. We could have been going through this process together, and then we could have both started to win.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I think oftentimes, especially in the Black and brown community, more specifically in the Black community, and I'm speaking towards this because I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. We don't celebrate each other's victory enough. But when you now start to look at different cultures, I don't care whether that person is a millionaire or not. You see those different cultures, either A, they join in the bandwagon and they're like, look, let me help you get to wherever it is that you're trying to get to. Or B, I'm going to send as much traffic as I can towards you so that you, either way, you still win.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But us, on the other hand, it's almost like that crab in the barrel mentality. You know what I mean? And it sucks, because it's like, how long are you going to do that till you realize, like, hey, there's strength in numbers. There's strength in numbers. You know what I mean? So in order for us to get to the next level that we're looking for, like, listen, for instance, you're doing the trucking industry. So if I can send people that, are trying to start out to you, and then you're like, okay, boom, I got this. All right, well, now some of these people that's driving, their mental health has been, heavily affected because they've been, broken away from their families. They've been broken away from what they are accustomed to. So then you can tell me, hey, Jarvis, you know what? Like, I know a couple people that could benefit from some mental health support. You see, so did y'all see what just happened there? There's literally 2 separate things that can work in the benefit for both of us.
Exactly.
So I can send him somebody, boom. This somebody that is ready. They got their CDLs. They're ready. Put them on the road, brother. You know what I mean? But then you say, hey, I got this one person, that has been going through it for the past, 3 months. And they finally come to me and they say, listen, I'm ready to do whatever it is that I need to do for my mental health support. Well, now you just done sent them my way. So now it's a win-win situation. And if you're doing it like that, people, if y'all listening, please listen to this. If you're doing it exactly like that, I can help you win. You can help me win. And together, we win. One of the songs, like, win, 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 win. You know what I mean? Like, come on now.
It's good too, like, also, and I tell people too, a lot of people that, like in the Black and brown community, a lot of people look at compensation out of somebody helping them get to where they need to get to. And I try to tell people when I go to seminars, if I do, don't always look at getting money for something and you trying to help them do something. No, look at it like, it's a heart thing. You can gain something down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But a lot of our people, we do that. I'm not gonna help him unless he gives me something off of it, or she gives me something from it. So you gotta look at it like timing is always good. That's the most important thing in life. You give people your time, that makes people feel good. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
That'll make you grow too. That's another thing. Just don't look at it, I gotta make sure he give me $500 before I come do a show with him at the stage or something. No, just be like, well, I do it off the strength. It's because we all grown. We need to build together so we can win.
And see, the thing is, even with that though, a lot of time people also don't think about the fact that when you get into those types of situations, when you do those types of things, if I do it off the strength of your genuineness, if I do it off the strength of, hey, I feel like there's gonna be, a game for you. I'm a firm believer. Now, I'm not knocking nobody. I'm a firm believer that when the Lord is on the blessing street for you in your neighborhood, I can celebrate your win. I can celebrate your victory, because what that lets me know is he close to mine.
Come on now.
He about to show up at my store, at my doorstep.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if I can celebrate your victories and I can celebrate your wins, then again, I don't know the scripture, so I ain't even going to begin to sit here and do that. But the point, I'm going to paraphrase. What I do know is when you can celebrate in, somebody else's victory, somebody else's triumphs, you too are then blessed.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And so I definitely would say that, we as a people, we got to start doing that. We have to start doing exactly what you just said, not always doing stuff for your financial gain.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the bigger picture is you honestly might be able to get that tenfold by just supporting. So again, back to what we said before. Win. It's that's what it is. It's out there. It's easy. You know what I mean? I'm gonna help you, help me, help us.
Yeah.
Just that simple. Just that simple, brother.
Right.
All right. So I tell people all the time I like to turn up the heat a little bit. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
He like, oh,
let's
snap.
go.
All right. So you said that obviously you're an entrepreneur. Would you say that you found it more difficult to date? And are you dating right now? Would you say it's more difficult as an entrepreneur? Or has it been easier? Because some people look at the dollar and be like, hey,
Yeah.
Insane.
So, to that question, it's kind of like,
and you ain't got to tell nobody. Hey, ladies, don't be. He ain't say it.
Right. So it's a juggle with it, because entrepreneur, you always doing something. So you have to have that person that's down for the ride. I'm gonna say that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you kind of, I'm not saying nothing about somebody that got a regular job or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But when you're dealing with an entrepreneur, sometimes they might have it, they might not have it.
Okay.
So you got to deal with someone who's kind of there and that's supportive within, not looking for a compensation, not looking for money out of you, or they look for more so genuine love or something like that. So my dating stage is kind of like, hey, it is what it is, So that's how we're gonna leave it. They check it,
leave it like that.
But
check it.
It comes to a point you got to be a strong-minded person.
Okay.
Either way, you on this fence, an entrepreneur, or if you working a regular job, you want to deal with an entrepreneur, just make sure you're ready for that ride.
Okay.
Because it's a serious ride. It's timing, financial. The bill's gonna get paid. Not saying not gonna get paid, but when you want to go get nails and hair and stuff, sometimes your man might say, "Hey, not this week, babe. I just lost. Wait the next week, let me gain." Some people like, "Oh, I can't wait. I need it now."
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard, but they got to be strong. It's been hard though for me, to be honest, when I was over the road.
Okay.
When you're dealing with an over the road truck driver, you got to be cautious.
Okay.
He's not home a lot.
So those nights when you want that companionship, the cuddling, or whatever the case may be,
right? You
can't have it in that moment only because the person's over the road. Okay.
You know.
Okay, that makes sense. So y'all hear that, right? So he's not saying that hey, I'm not willing to do it. What he's saying is like, listen, I need somebody that's gonna be willing to understand that hey, it's a journey, it's a process. Yeah. It's not like hey, we just say we go together real bad like Carisha and, but we won't say the other guy's name because he's locked up right now. We won't give him no we're not knocking, just saying not on this platform. So if you with somebody and you understand that, you also then have to understand that you're not signing up for the look You're not signing up for the flash. You're not signing up for what that person can give you. You signing up for, hey, like you said, in those tough days, I'm here for you. You're signing up for in those days that you feel like you don't necessarily have the motivation. I am now your motivation. I'm going to be that person that's giving you that push because I want you to win. Because if you win, then I win, and we win together. Right. But if you are so fixated on what that person can give you, and that's where you kind of stay at, then it's never going to be successful. Let's just call it what it is. It's never going to be successful because now you're literally focusing too much on what can be provided by that person. So that actually, this ain't even a question, but I got to go with it. So I have to ask now that we're saying that, would you say that you have had a situation? Now you can tell me, brother, if it's a little too hot. Would you say that you had a situation that may have ended prematurely because of that? And you don't have to go into details. We're not looking for details. But do you feel that you might have had a situation that ended prematurely because of the over the road traveling?
Yeah, over the road. Yeah, and entrepreneur, life, like I said, because, a lot of people, again, we're going to go back to it. I know you guys probably tired of me saying, but chasing the bag instead of chasing purpose. That's my biggest thing, Purpose. So when you're dealing with someone and they're not chasing purpose, it's kind of hard for them to deal with an over-the-road truck driver or an entrepreneur because they're not chasing purpose. They're chasing more so of, okay, he got that bag. So I'm going to chase the bag. You can't chase the bag, So I have dealt with situations like that, and I'm thinking, man, it's going to be the right one. This is it. Like 3 or 4 months down the line, it's not it, because you go through dark times. Entrepreneurs go through dark times, go through sitting down, need somebody to put your head down. You need a peaceful person that's in peace within themselves.
Peaceful. That's the operative word. We're coming back to that.
To grow. So you got to have that peace. You got to have it. So yeah, it's been hard. I have went through a situation like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is that in those moments, it can create a strain on the relationship depending on what it is, in fact, the other person is looking for.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So then I'll take it a step further. So it also sounds like if that person is not emotionally intelligent, they then don't understand what they might be getting themselves into. Because when they first signed on to it, saying that they wanted to, hey, let's take this thing the distance, they didn't realize that, hey, out of 365 days, my person might be gone 300 of those days. And I got to be willing to deal with that.
Exactly.
That's not to say that we ain't connected by the phone. That's not to say that we're not connected by, FaceTime or whatever the case may be. That's not to say that any chance you get in your downtime, we can't connect. But it also is saying that that physical part of things might not be extremely available because of what it is that you do.
That come from too, though, with past relationship trauma.
That's what I was looking for.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, when they're dealing with, a truck driver or it's an entrepreneur, not even just a truck driver, it can be past relationship trauma that keeps them at that standpoint of she might be cheating or he might be cheating. So it'd be hard for them kind of deal with that lifestyle, dealing with an entrepreneur, or truck driver. So, you kind of like have to get that peace within yourself and let that healing go through, especially by yourself. A lot of people like to heal with somebody else. It's not good to heal with somebody else. Heal by yourself. So when you come into a new relationship, you done did your healing part.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. You're ready to go. Yeah, let's take this journey. Let's go.
Listen. So what he's saying is, bring your luggage, but let your luggage be empty.
Come on now.
Don't bring your luggage full. Now that means that come in with your pretty undergarments, amen. But don't come in with all of the other stuff, your blood stained, tears, your bucket of tears. You know what I mean? When you come into your new situation, and this is men and women,
right?
This is not just saying one or the other. It's saying both. Because a lot of time, like you said, a lot of people do jump directly into new situations, not giving themselves enough time to heal, not giving themselves enough time to do self-reflection, not giving themselves enough time to motivate themselves, let alone trying to motivate somebody else through something.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to that emotional intelligence. You can say that you want somebody that's going to be communicative with you. You can say that you want somebody that's going to, keep it real with you and tell you everything up front. But if you then are not emotionally available to receive that, then how in the world is it that you want to be able to build something with someone and you haven't even taken the time that you need to rebuild yourself from what it is that you went through?
Exactly. That's a tough pill right there. So and that's not easy, So I mean, I know we're saying it, but a lot of people, it takes time for people, and that's cool. You want to be friends with someone that's an entrepreneur or something going through a journey. You can be their friend, it's cool, but before you jump into a deep state, paying bills and all that stuff, work on your healing first. Because, you're dealing with somebody that's got like a journey they're trying to go through.
Right.
You can't put too much pressure on them because then you're going to make them backtrack. They don't want to be pulling heavy weight when they're trying to go. So, like I said, it takes time.
Right. Absolutely. And we can go super deep into this, but I won't go too far into it. But what I will also say is, in that particular case, we as a people also have to stop saying, you have to create this space in order for me to give you this. Mm-hmm. Because when you came into this situation, you came into it saying and knowing that, hey, this is what the person want. At least that's what they told me.
Right.
So because that's what they said that they want, that's what they said that they needed. Well, you have to be able to be willing to give them just that. And if you feel like, hey, you know what? I'm not in a space to do that right now. Don't then, project what it is that you've gone through, like your past traumas, like you said. Don't come in projecting, what it is that you really want onto that person as if they aren't giving you what it is that you want.
Right.
And so this is where those tough conversations happen. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. The honeymoon phase of any type of situation, relationship, or whatever, it wears off.
Yeah.
It wears off.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I'm talking to somebody, I want to make sure that I'm talking to the person beyond the honeymoon. Give me the real, raw, and uncut. Let me know what it is that that you did in your past relationship that was so effed up. I won't really say what I really want to say, but I'm sure you can put it together. Don't, don't make it seem like, hey, it's you.
Right.
When in actuality is me. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. Exactly. You haven't really taken that time to figure those things out. So then traveling back. Yeah, I see what I did there, traveling back. I see how that could also be extremely difficult. We trying to build a relationship, but it's that emotional tug and war.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So now it's always like, damn, like what kind of struggle are we about to deal with now when I pick up the phone?
And that's tough when you're trying to build something, as a entrepreneur or building your business. It's tough when you're dealing with someone that's kind of like emotionally scarred or dealing with their past trauma, with, relationships. I know a lot of people say, childhood trauma, but that's kind of different than a relationship dealing with a person. Because,
Facts.
That's kind of hard to deal with, but you kind of got to just heal. A lot of people, it's tough because you're not going to be able to build your business, build your journey of entrepreneur. You're not going to be able to network with people, invest if you're dealing with someone who has not been healed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's basically how I go with it.
Yeah, because again, like you said, as an entrepreneur, it's so much of your focus going to be on taking those fundamental steps to building your business. Well, then now if you're having to, reaffirm every time that this person is going through something, hey, do you really love me the way that you say you love me? Mm-hmm. Do you really this or whatever the case may be? That's now pulling more on you. So now you don't have that, that space, that thought process, that freedom in your mind to do what you need to do to make your business flourish. And that's not to say that, relationships are easy.
Right.
Any relationship that is worth having is worth fighting for.
Yes.
You know what I mean? These words are just coming. Amen to that.
Yes,
anything that's worth having is worth fighting for. So at the end of the day, that's not to say that, there aren't going to be, some small, head button, that happens. I mean, it's what it is. It's two individuals that's coming into a united, situation. So it's going to be a difference of opinion. It's going to be a difference of, the way that you think or whatever the case may be. But that's not saying that should then be coupled on top of hurt. Because if you build a house on a shaky foundation, the house is not going to withstand it.
Nope.
It's just not going to happen.
Nope.
So solid foundations, y'all.
Starting with foundations.
Yes, solid foundations. All right. So we kind of talked about, the dating aspect of it. Well, would you consider now dating? Like, do you think now's a good time for you today, or anybody, not just you, anybody that's in the trucking industry? How do you think a person should go about dating?
I say mainly stay in your friendship zone for as long as you can.
Okay.
When you're an entrepreneur, because you're gonna have ups and downs. Don't rush into, hey, it's my boyfriend, it's my girl. Don't rush into it, because you're gonna have up and downs with that. Figure out that person. Find out who they are and stuff like that. So it takes a little while. It's not nothing you want to jump into real fast. So I say, yeah, I think it should take time to do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's fair because, we were talking off camera, and I would definitely say it takes time for evolution.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, the reality is the two people that you guys see here now definitely were not the two people that were here 15 years ago. Right. You know what I mean? So that within itself is elevation. Mm-hmm. That within itself is evolution. Right. It takes a moment to kind of get to where you're trying to go. You have to, go through some things. You have to, literally have that moment of reflection of where you've come from to even appreciate anything that's forthcoming.
Exactly. Got to. That's the main thing too. Like, a lot of people don't have appreciation. Yeah.
And it can be the smallest things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I tell people all the time, we also had a conversation off camera. And I said it at the beginning of this, like, with my mom, not physically being here, I never in a million years thought it was going to be as soon as it was. Like, yes, she had some ailments and things like that, but I never thought that it was going to be as soon as it was. In my mind, especially what I was bargaining for with God, I was hoping and praying, like, at least, Lord, let us see her 70s, 70, 75, whatever. But I said that to say that I was watching something on DC Young Fly. If you're listening, we are accepting sponsorships, brother. But I was looking at DC Young Fly. He was speaking at Rich Homie Quan's memorial service. Mm-hmm. And he was basically saying that we are all here on borrowed time. Yes. And so because we're here on borrowed time, that means that we have to take every moment and cherish it as if it's our last. That's the reason why I brought up, the story with my mom. We have to cherish every moment as if it's our last. And that means that we got to go after what it is that we want. Mm-hmm. We have to go after those relationships. We have to go after those business ventures. We have to, invest in stocks and bonds. Yes. We have to, whatever it is that we want to do, so that we can make our living a little bit easier, our journey a little bit easier on this side. Do it.
Don't wait. Go ahead. Go straight forward. If you're thinking about it today, don't do it tomorrow or Monday when they open up.
Listen, and if you're trying to get a LLC, you can sign up for an LLC anytime. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I will say the thing that I will always recommend to anybody, and you can let me know what I'm telling them right stuff, brother. Okay. What I would recommend to anybody is if you're signing up for, an LLC, you're creating a business, also make sure that you've created a business plan. Now, this also is with the understanding that, hey, there might be some things that might change within your business plan, but you still want to have that solid foundation before you start, the process in creating an LLC. Otherwise, you're literally just having an LLC that you're not going to be able to fully function in it. Would you say that that's accurate?
You're definitely right. You want to chase those, those goals in that business plan. I've seen people write business plans and just kind of scribble. I'm not saying nothing wrong with it. They just coming up with it, but they don't chase the business plan. They kind of just write it up just to have a business plan. So when you do a business plan, you want to make sure it's structured right. You're going to have goals on there for sure. What's your plan? What are we going to do with this business 10 years down the line? Mm-hmm. So like you said, when you do LLC, you want to have that business plan in paper. You just don't want to have it on the computer. You want to have it on paper in hand so you can get it when you need it. Because when you apply for grants and loans, the first thing they ask is, do you have a business plan? It's not, you can't keep it in your head. You got to have it on paper. You got to have it written out and chase those goals on that business plan.
Chase those goals. You heard? Chase the purpose.
Chase the purpose.
Chase the purpose and the goals.
And the goals.
Not the bag. Not saying that the bag gonna come. There it is. The bag gonna come.
Flow in so easy. You'll be like, man, I never thought I'd be sitting here looking at $10,000 in my account. Because you know why? You've been chasing the purpose.
Right.
You know, it's coming to you because like now it's in you, you know. It's not like I'm thinking about I need to get this new Maserati next month or 2 months down. You're not thinking about the Maserati. You're thinking about my purpose and why I'm doing this.
Right,
you know
right.
So
right.
It's gonna come.
And when you know, honestly speaking, as I'm hearing you speak about chasing the purpose, if you're leading with more of like a genuine approach, all of those things are going to come anyway, because people can look just like they're looking at us right now. You can tell whether we're faking, whether we're doing something, you know, just because it's a show. Right. As you guys can see, we're literally bouncing the energy off of each other. Why? Because we done known each other for about 15 years. You know what I mean? So it goes back to, you know, like, hey, what is it that you're trying to, you know, put out there? Are you trying to get straight to the bag? Because if you are trying to get straight to the bag, that is also red. That's also felt. Exactly. Just like, so I work for a company that I always tell employees, if you are speaking to a customer and you have this defeatist attitude, you're angry, that customer is going to be able to hear it, because you can literally hear when somebody is talking to you and they're smiling. Mm-hmm. I used to say that all the time. You know, when I used to work at AutoZone, right, is most of those days I went in there and I had attitude. Let's just call it what it is. But thank God for growth. You know, God, now, you know, I choose to be happy. I choose not to let things get me down. I choose not to, you know, and I think a lot of that came from, you know, losing my mom too. Right. You know, because I realized that, you know, life is short. I realized, like, you know, when my grandma used to say that when I was young, I was like, this lady is see now. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, my grandma is 92. You know what I mean? So for her, life was long, but what she was saying was, you know, life is short, meaning that in the blink of an eye, you know, anything can happen. Like, you know, we can go out there, and I hope and pray that this doesn't happen to anybody that's watching. Definitely neither one of us, our families or friends, I hope they're all safe. But we can literally go out there and drive from here to a store, and anything can happen. Exactly. So you have to make sure that you are always, you know, getting back on topic, because sometimes I can go down a rabbit hole. But getting back on topic, like, you want to make sure that you're leading with a genuine approach rather than what you can give me. Because it's sense. People can sense that. It's not genuine. I say don't, you know, I tell people, if it's not genuine, don't even do it. Yeah. You know, they even, you know, don't, because it's not going to make you feel your heart warm. You know, it's kind of be like, I'm just doing it because I'm, no, it's not genuine, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you got an attitude, don't even go to work. If you got an attitude, don't do that show down the line. If you got an attitude, don't do paperwork today. You know, make sure you have a good standing before you do your work. You know, that's how you grow. And it's funny that you say that, because anytime that you guys have seen that I've canceled a show, it could be multiple reasons, but a lot of the time it's because I feel like my energy is not where it needs to be. And when I come on the show, I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys great material. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys great things to look forward to, because when it comes to mental health, first of all, in order for me to preach to you guys about mental health, that means I also got to make sure that my mental health is well and intact. Mm-hmm. But then in addition to that, I want to make sure that, you know, I'm not coming to you guys telling you something that you should or shouldn't be doing, or giving you recommendations that I'm not adhering to either. Right. You know what I mean? Now, of course, that also means that sometimes I might be busy, like this Tuesday that just passed by, even though y'all didn't ask. But this Tuesday that just passed, I had revival at church. Had to go, you know, get the spirit revived. Right. So, you know, so it's just, you know, things like that. But again, like you said, if you're not coming forth with the good energy, the positive energy, it's okay to take a step back. Yeah. You know what I mean? And try it again when your energy is a little bit better or what have you. All right, brother. With that being said, you got 2 projects here. Yep. I would love for you to show the projects here on the cameras, and then give us a little bit of information about these. All right. So we got one book here. It's called Learning the Trucking Industry. Yeah, I was about to say, I'll hold it up for you. So this is Learning the Trucking Industry. I wrote this book
last year around August. So I came up with this book because I teach dispatchers and, like I said, I'm a mentor for logistics companies. And I came up with this book because a lot of single moms, or single dads, but I was mainly focused on the single moms that's at home and they want to do something, but they can't get out because they don't have babysitters. So I said, you know what? Let's think about it. Let me make a book where they can read from home and still learn. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So this is why I came up with Learn the Trucking Industry. And you can get this book. It's all over platforms, Amazon, Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble. I got a Linktree link that we'll post in the video.
Okay.
But you can grab this book anywhere. So if you can't pay $150, $200 for a class, the book is online no more than $20. And you can learn the industry. Become your own dispatcher or build your own logistics company. Generational wealth. That's what we're chasing. You know what I'm saying? So learning the trucking industry. This is my first project I came up with.
Nice. All right, brother. Okay.
So the next one I came up with is called The Switch Up. So The Switch Up, I wrote this book in July of this year.
Okay.
So this is the second one, yeah. And I came up with The Switch Up because I came from a lifestyle where I seen no farther than what I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So once I gained more knowledge, I started changing up, So I wrote this story really because I want to give people motivation and inspiration. So I said, let me write this book about my story and how I overcame some obstacles and where I'm doing now. And it'll give people motivation like, well, Cortez, this is how he kind of came over there. It is a way we can come out of this. So that's why I call it a switch up, because I kind of switched from what I was doing before. I don't get a net to what I'm doing now. You know what I'm saying? So the switch up is available online too, Barnes & Noble, Target, all over platforms. But you guys go get the book, The Switch Up, and then learn the trucking industry.
Nice. Okay. And both of these can be found on your LinkedIn. Your Linktree as well.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Do you have like a LinkedIn profile?
I don't have a LinkedIn right now,
okay.
But right now it's got the Linktree going.
Okay. Okay.
And, I got it. So all my TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
everything attached.
You kind of can do. You
okay.
Find it on there.
Okay. And so, like you said, we'll definitely get that tag for you guys so that you can definitely see that. And most importantly, we want to make sure that you guys are like, this is great knowledge, and you don't have to, like you say, you don't have to pay a fortune to get the knowledge.
Right.
He's kind of going through, he's kind of, dealt with it. And so he wants to give you his, his journey, so that if your journey is similar or whatever your journey may be, you can then also say, you know what, I have a resource here that if I want to get into this, this is what I can do to get into that. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, brother.
Sit at home and read it yourself.
Sit at home and read
ebooks. You don't even got to get the book. You
can snap!
Too. Got on ebook.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Ebook. Yeah, I'm an ebooker kind of person. But I do believe in support, so I'll definitely be supporting you for sure, brother. And get some things sent out this way. But I would also like to ask you, and everybody that watches the show knows that I like to ask these questions.
Okay.
You being driving over the road, doing your entrepreneur thing, what are you doing for your mental health?
Mental health, I do a lot of isolation.
Okay.
And I know sometimes people say that's kind of scary, but I like to hear my own self, kind of like to sit back and relax and just stay. People say, well, I'm hearing my heartbeat, I'm hearing cracks in the house is settling.
Yeah.
I kind of think that gets me back into a mode where I can kind of recharge.
Okay.
I cut my phone off, emails, Facebook, everything, and just isolate myself because it kind of builds my mental health. I went through a situation before when I had to just sit there and figure out, like, why am I going through this? And after I figured it out, I came up out of it and kept moving.
Okay.
So it kind of works for me like that. And also, I'll take a load on the road. Just turn the music off on the truck and just ride. Okay. But I know it's, a lot of people do therapists, and nothing wrong with therapists too. But I guess now I got the access to get in the truck or just going somewhere myself. I kind of do that for the mental health too.
Okay. So how often would you say that you kind of retreat and go within yourself and, have your own thoughts or whatever?
Weekly.
Okay. You hear that? So at least weekly. At least weekly. And I mean, honestly, I think that's a good thing. I'm one of those ones that I typically will go like the Energizer Bunny, and I won't go to a point of the brink of breakdown or anything like that, because a lot of people, I don't want people to think that.
Right.
But I'm an extrovert, so I need that outside energy. You know what I mean? I need that outside connection with people or what have you. But then there are times where I'm like, okay, you know what? Now it's time for that me time. So I'm very aware of, okay, I can't give no more of myself without recharging, like you said.
Yeah.
So great. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that, obviously you protecting yourself
Right.
out there, and definitely want to make sure that, for those of you that are watching, that you too are doing, whatever it is that works well for you. Some habits, that we have might need to be tweaked a little bit. It's not to say that it don't work. Some of the habits that we might have might need to be tweaked a little bit. Like me, myself, I tell people all the time, I don't do baths like that, but I find myself when I do a bath and I have like a glass of wine or whatever, that takes me to a whole different space because I'm always on the go. So a quick shower, I'm not quick. I don't want y'all to think I'm nasty out in the streets, but a shower is, always more convenient for me. But when I take those times and take a bath and, just like you said, just zone out. You know what I mean? Like one time I fell asleep in the tub.
Relaxation.
You know what I mean? That's extremely important. So whatever it is that you do, do it. And like you said, do it weekly.
Yes.
Don't wait until the world is kind of caving in on you. Do it weekly, because that way you're not at a space where you feel like you have to retreat. It's more of, I'm doing this because I want to, rather than I have to. Because if you have to, then that's going to make you even more frustrated, because now you didn't give yourself enough time, you didn't give you enough space, whatever the case may be. So keep those things in mind. And most importantly, you got it. Yeah. We two brothers up here that told you, you got it. Give yourself that time. Give yourself that grace.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you'll get it.
Nothing's perfect.
Nothing's perfect.
You're not gonna have a perfect life with anything you do. One thing I do say too, I know some people get into, but praying is good too.
Amen.
Talk to the Most High. Whatever religion you guys believe in, but pray. Make sure you give your time to isolation, pray, and just relax sometimes. Because when you're trying to build something, you need time to rethink. You might say, "Well, I'm gonna put $1,000 in this," but really you can spend $200 to do that. So you got to give yourself time to relax and think. Don't never do things when you kind of like in a rush.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up messing up kind of some way. So just give your time, sit back and relax, and just get your mental health right with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always like to say that never make a permanent decision on a temporary feeling.
Come on now.
Yeah,
man,
so
that's strong.
Yeah, because we do it. What I mean? Like we as a people, we do it sometimes. Like I'll sit there and tell you, I've definitely done it. So make sure that you're looking at it from that angle. Like, hey, you know what? If I breathe, if I sit here and I just navigate my thoughts, my feelings, I can now come back and say, you know what? I can do this for me. This is what I need and what will work well for me.
And take accountability too. I've been learning that lately too, and just maybe this last year, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, accountability is real strong. So if you feel like you maybe cut somebody out or went hard on somebody you really supposed to, sit back and just think like, hey man, I'm really sorry about what I did. It's okay.
Right.
When you're building something, you have to throw the pride outside.
Yeah.
Like, man, my pride, why you gonna let me do it? You gotta throw that out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to take accountability, sit back and relax, because sometimes we are wrong in things we do.
Facts.
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
We learn.
Yeah.
So.
And you, like you said, you got to be willing to, to go through that and say, you know what, I'm no longer want to be that. Because if not, well, what we were talking about earlier, you will always find yourself in that situation by yourself. Because there's nobody that's just gonna, want to purposely just deal with that if.
And I know this probably off subject, and I know I don't want to take too much of my time, but a lot of people nowadays are lonely by themselves, and the number one reason I've been figuring out when I do these classes and stuff, and people just call me sometimes it's because they don't want to sit there and say I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to take accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, man, you know, if we can get that out of stage, that pride and their ego, a lot of people be able to come together more. So, you know, that's another thing too. When you feel yourself like, man, I can't find a man or I can't find a woman. Think about within yourself, like, do I take accountability for maybe I was wrong?
Right.
Maybe
right.
I want this man to do something that I wouldn't do. You know, so this woman to do something I wouldn't do. So
right.
That's a major thing. Let the pride and ego go, especially if you want to build an entrepreneur life. You gotta let pride and ego go because some things I do, I'll be like, man, I didn't want to take that 3-hour ride down there and do that free event. But I look at it like, hey, it's gonna make me gain. You know,
right.
It's my pride.
Right. So. Yeah, and like you said, with that situation, I think it'll also, you know, put you in a place where once you, going back to what you just said, once you sit there, you look at everything, you check the egos at the door, you take accountability for your actions. That's literally a way that you can move forward from the things that have been holding you hostage all this time. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I would definitely say that, you know, brother, I am definitely glad that you came on the show.
Yes.
Definitely glad, you know, that we were able to, you know, talk about, you know, the things that we've talked about. I think, you know, it's been great conversation. Most importantly, we caught up. It's been, 15 years. So we were able to kind of catch up and, you know, definitely want to make sure that we are, you know, sharing with our community. Like, listen, it's out there. You can do it too. We can all win together. Like, you know, you can do it. I can do it. We can do it. Like, do it. You know, chase the purpose.
Yes.
Not the bad. Right. And most importantly, win. Right. Yeah. So we definitely appreciate you for reviewing with us, chatting with us, talking to us. And we look forward to, you know, reconnecting. He'll be back. Yeah. He'll be back. Yeah. And so, you know, we definitely gonna reconnect, but most importantly, y'all know I always tell y'all this: keep your mental health as top priority, and most importantly, we'll be black next week. Peace.
Peace out.